Creo que la ley de Arizona tiene el potencial.
Being applied in a discriminatory fashion. Now, after it was initially passed, the Arizona legislature amended it and said that this should not be carried out in a discriminatory way, but I think a fair reading of the language of the statute indicates that it gives the possibility of individuals who are deemed suspicious of being illegal immigrants from being harassed or arrested, and the judgments that are going to be made in applying this law are troublesome. Now, what I've directed my Justice Department to do is to look very carefully at the language of this law to see whether it comports both with our core values and existing legal standards, as well as the fact that the federal government is ultimately the one charged with immigration policy. And I expect to get a final report back from the Justice Department soon, at which point we'll make some decisions in terms of how we are going to address that law. Now, what I've also said, though, is that the Arizona law, I think, expresses some of the frustrations that the American people have had in not fixing a broken immigration system. And frankly, the failures of the federal government to get this done. I'm sympathetic to those frustrations. I share those frustrations, which is why from the time that I was a U.S. Senator through the time that I ran for president until now, I have consistently said that I'm supportive of a comprehensive immigration reform approach. And I think the majority of American people are open to a comprehensive immigration reform approach, which would say the following things. Number one, that the federal government takes its responsibilities for securing our borders seriously. And as I just stated in my opening remarks, we have actually put more resources, more personnel on the borders, and illegal immigration is actually down on the borders, not up. I know that's not the perception out there, but that's the fact. But we haven't done enough. So we've got a responsibility to create an orderly border, and that's something that we have to do not unilaterally, but also working with the Mexican government, because there are enormous flows of trade and tourists and people along the border region. The economies are interdependent, and we've got to control the borders, but do so in a way that does not have an adverse impact on the economies of those regions. The second thing we've got to do is we've got to make sure that businesses are following the rules and are not actively recruiting undocumented workers so that they don't have to abide by overtime laws, they don't have to abide by minimum wage laws, they don't have to abide by worker safety laws, and otherwise undercut basic worker protections that exist. And they have to be held accountable and responsible. The third thing we have to do is to make sure that those who have come to this country illegally are held accountable. And that means they need to pay a fine, they need to pay back taxes. I believe they should learn English. I believe that it is important for them to get to the back of the line and not in the front, but that we create a pathway so that they have an opportunity, if they're following the rules, following the law, to become legal residents and ultimately citizens of this country. Now,